Alrighty, let's continue through the DVD collection. This is going to be the third tier on the second tower. Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. This is the sequel to Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, which is right here. So they're back to back. These are comedies, and they're stoner comedies, but they're funny, pretty hilarious. Through these adventures that these two guys go on, they get mixed up into a lot of crap, meet some interesting characters along the way, get in danger and stuff, and yeah. So, pretty wild. Clerks, this is a Kevin Smith movie. Kevin Smith made the New Jersey collections, which I've had a lot of them in the past. I'd like to have them again. He did Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and all that. I don't know really what was the first one. It might have been Mallrats. I don't know. But Clerks was an early one. This is an all black and white movie. It's a movie about a gas station clerk and like what he goes through in his day, where he's supposed to have the day off, but he's called into work. And there's a lot. It's heavy on the dialogue, but it's a great movie. It's I love it. It's one of those cult classics, and they made a sequel to it where it's in color, and they're going to they work at like a fast food restaurant. If you haven't seen Clerks, you like comedy movies, I definitely suggest that you check that out. And now being a clerk myself, I can relate to it, so I always think about that. I love it. He's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today. Alright, the original National Lampoon's Vacation. I talked about having this earlier. I've got the Las Vegas Vacation. And these are the two vacations that I have. Love all of them. This is the first one where they go to Wally World. And what I remember is the grandma or the elderly lady that like dies in the car. Kind of random. But it's funny. They're all good. Chevy Chase is great. Grumpier Old Men. I thought this was the first Grumpy Old Men, which I love. Grumpy Old Men. I've watched it tons of times. I don't have it. I need to get it. But this is the sequel, which I think is pretty good too. But in the first one, the two men are fighting over the one woman. And then in this one, one of them got with that woman, and then there's a new woman that shows up that the other one's interested in. I don't know. These two men fight and argue, but it's really touching also. I love the original one. This one I haven't even watched again since I picked this up, but I need to. I think it's pretty good too. Probably not as good as the first one, but March of the Penguins. This is told by Morgan Freeman. I don't know if this... I mean, this is actually like, I think, documentary footage of penguins. And they made like a movie out of it, and they took actors and they did voice acting for the penguins. It's real life footage. And so it makes it pretty unique. It's a unique movie. And it is funny. I've seen it like once, but I enjoyed that. The Adventures of Babysitting. This is a good 80s movie. One of those adventure movies where she is babysitting, and I think she has a friend call that's in a that was going to run away from home, and she's stuck in the subway terminal or something like that, and she wants the babysitter to come get her, so the babysitter goes with the kids that she's babysitting to go help her friend, and they meet all these people along the way, and you know, they get into trouble and stuff, and so it's one of those movies. Matt Gruber. This was a skit on Saturday Night Live that they made into a movie where this Will Forte, who I love, I think he's hilarious, he parodies MacGyver. This is MacGruber. So he's always in danger trying to disarm bombs and stuff. This has some perverted stuff. This is some over-the-top, raunchy comedy. Uh, really absurd, though, and I liked it. You know, it's probably one that's not rated so highly. It has a lot of wrestlers in it, too. I'm a wrestling fan, so it's nice to see some of the cameos in that movie. Hot Rod, I say this a lot, but I love this movie. Seen it a lot of times. Another guy that was from Saturday Night Live, Andy Samberg. This plays like a retro movie. It's a very quirky, unique kind of comedy that not everybody's going to enjoy. He plays as this stunt devil who is really just terrible. You know, he tries to do stunts like with his moped. He tries to jump like a pool with a ramp, and you know he crashes and goes into the pool. And but he has a stepdad who he doesn't get along with, and they fight, and he wants to earn his stepdad's respect by beating him. But his stepdad gets like he has like heart issues or something like that, and so he needs to raise money to help him. And so he starts going out and doing bigger stunts and stuff to earn money. But a lot of slapstick. You know, he gets injured and stuff a lot. Obviously, he's like a human pinata there, where the kids are beating with a baseball bat. I love it. I'd watch this a million more times, and I'd laugh. I don't care. Real Men. This movie's always been near and dear to me because I remember when my dad worked at a factory, and one of his co-workers let him borrow this on VHS, and I remember watching this on VHS. And it's such a unique movie. I feel like this is a movie that is probably really unknown, and a lot of people need to see this. And I say the word absurd a lot, but this movie definitely embraces absurdism. It has John Belushi and John Ritter. They're both great actors. And it's this movie where basically John Ritter is just this average, everyday guy, and James Belushi is like this agent or something, and he comes and gets John Ritter, and they go on this journey where it ends up being like at the end, like he's trying to get a glass of water for like an alien or something. It's all this top secret stuff, and they're just like in it with the mobs, and it's outrageous. I love that. Love that kind of stupid comedy. Grandma's Boy, another stoner comedy, but about a guy who makes video games, and he lives with his grandma. He has to move in with his grandma, and it's a decent comedy. Boys Don't Cry. This is, I don't know if this was based on a true story or not, but I know this has to do with basically a lesbian, and she is, she dresses up as a boy, basically. I don't remember a lot of the plot, but it's a drama. So this one isn't a comedy, it's a drama, and I don't remember if like she dies in the end or not. Spoilers, I don't know. But she gets picked on for being a lesbian and being dressing like a guy or whatever, and she has a girlfriend, and I don't know. But I remember being pretty good. I was really questioning whether I wanted to get it or not. I know it's a good movie, but because of the subject matter, I didn't know if I was interested. But I think this was one that was, you know, super cheap, and I was like, why not? I was just getting add it to the pile. Never Leave Alive. I haven't watched this yet. It has John Hennigan, who is John Morrison in the WWE, or Johnny Mundo currently in Impact Wrestling. He's a wrestler, and he's pretty charismatic. There's another movie that I have with him. I was interested that he's in these movies, that he's made a few movies. The other one I enjoyed, so I was interested in this one. Just an action movie. I'm not sure what the plot is and stuff. I haven't seen this yet, so I'm still waiting to watch this. But it's probably a good popcorn flick. And I think I got this at Family Video. They were selling movies for really cheap. Yeah, you see $1.99. I picked up a few movies. I was like, oh, it's got, you know, the wrestler in it. I like the other movie, so I didn't even know about that, so why not? Austin Powers, I talked about this when I had the other one. I don't think I've sit through any of these, but I am glad that when I went through the cheap movies piles, I was able to get like full trilogies. So I know that I don't know which one's the best one out of the series, but I think they're all pretty good. Will Ferrell, The Campaign with Zach Galifianakis. I haven't watched all of this. I've seen clips of it. I don't know that it's really that highly rated, but I've said before I like Will Ferrell. This was in the cheap pile, so why not? Unforgiven. I haven't seen this yet. Clint Eastwood. Supposed to be a really good Western. Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, Richard Ferris. I need to watch it, but yeah, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's a Western. What else can you say? Pretty in Pink. If you know 80s movies, you know Molly Ringwald, and probably know Pretty in Pink. Just a 80s movie about a girl in high school or whatever, and romance and comedy and 80s cheesiness. It's good. So, Inglourious Basterds. I haven't watched this yet. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie, Brad Pitt. I haven't seen the last handful of Quentin Tarantino's movies. I know this has to do with Nazi Germany, Hitler, and it's just like every other Quentin Tarantino. It's a cult movie, controversial comedy, dark stuff in it. But yeah, I gotta get around to watching that sometime. Johnny English, haven't seen this either, but I love Mr. Bean, and I do have his series. But this is supposed to be a spoof on the 007 James Bond movies with the guy who plays Mr. Bean. I don't know, that's not really highly rated, but I like Mr. Bean, so picked it up for cheap. Best of Will Ferrell, Volume 2 on Saturday Night Live. He has a lot of funny skits on Saturday Night Live. That's really where he started and got famous. And one of the ones that comes to mind for me, where he's with a woman and they're like parents and their kids are out playing in the yard, and it's like a couple, and then they have another couple that's visiting with their kids, and they're like having a cookout basically. They're at a and here's the best of Will Ferrell Volume 1 too. I'll just put those together. So basically the same idea. He had so many good skits that there's 2 DVDs of them. But the one where he's the couple with the couple, and they're having a cookout, and the kids are playing like off screen, and then he'll start shouting at the kids, and he'll be like, "Get off the shed, kids!" and like his yelling gets more and more intense as they continue to play on the shed. He's like, "Yeah," he's like, "All right, guys, you gotta get down off the shed. You might get hurt or whatever, And then he gets more intense, like, "Hey, I said get off the shed right now." And then he's like, "Get off the damn shed!" It's, I don't know, I love that one, but there's so many. A Series of Unfortunate Events. I have seen this, I think, once with Jim Carrey. It's kind of a kid's movie, like a fantasy movie. I don't remember what it's all about, but it's good, so we'll just move on. 2001 Maniacs with Robert Englund. This is one of those cult classic kind of horror movies. I don't know if I've seen this or not. I think that I have. But this was in the lot too for the cheap movies, and I kind of see this as a gem because it is like a cult classic, but kind of a horror, grotesque movie. City of God, I haven't seen this. This is one of those critically acclaimed greatest movies of all time movies. Just like I said with Lawrence of Arabia. This was also in the cheap pile, and I was very glad to find this, even though I haven't watched it yet. Ebert and Roper gave it 2 thumbs up. I don't know if it has to do with like gangs. Rio de Janeiro, City of God, a slum. True story of crime and redemption. So it's based on a true story, huh? It's won numerous prestigious awards around the globe. Yeah, it's really highly acclaimed. Crank, I love that. I need to get the sequel. Jason Statham. This is an action movie where it's a revenge movie where this guy puts a Chinese cocktail thing in his heart. Like, he installed this thing to where if his heart rate goes so low, then he dies, and he has to like keep his heart beating to stay alive, like really fast. So he's drinking energy drinks, doing drugs, getting in fights, and he's trying to find the person who did this to him to get revenge and to get a cure or get it taken care of. It's over the top, and it's an intense ride. It's like an adrenaline rush on video, and it's very fake, obviously. I mean, it's over the top, which I say a lot too, but I mean, obviously the stuff he does in this movie is, not going to happen in real life. But if you're into action movies, I think you really need to see Crank, and it has a great sense of humor too. It's funny. That's probably one of my favorite Jason Statham movies, actually. It's great. Big Fish. Don't know if I've seen this or not, but I know it's kind of a surreal dream kind of movie. It might have to do with dreams. I don't remember. Or a story that somebody's telling. I don't know. A good one. It was in a cheap pile. Just added it in. School of Rock. I like that. I like Jack Black. I was actually in band class in high school. He's a band teacher, and he basically teaches the kids to play rock music and gets them in a rock band. And I don't remember all the details about it, but it's like a kid-friendly comedy. It's it's your average, comedy. It's not bad. So, Go is a drug movie about MDMA or ecstasy. And I don't remember a lot about it, but it's one of those drug movies where it shows the negative effects of drug use. And so they go to Vegas, or I don't know. Don't remember much about it, but if you're into the drug movies like Blow and Requiem for a Dream and whatever else, then you might be interested in Go. I need to rewatch it again. It's been a while. Pirates of the Caribbean 2, I already talked about the first one, or the Dead Man's Chest, whatever. I don't know much specifically about these, but I know they've gotten worse over time. The second one's probably alright. I might have seen it in theaters even. I don't remember, but I think at least the first two were alright. Johnny Depp's kind of lost his mind. Reservoir Dogs, another Quentin Tarantino movie, but this one is one of his classic ones that is a cult classic. If you're really into movies, I'm sure everybody already knows about this. I don't know what to say about it. It stars Quentin Tarantino. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I don't remember much of the plot. But yeah, you should see that. We ever got 2 of the Lord of the Rings movies, and I have, all 3 of them. So this is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which I think I found 1 of them or 2 of them in the cheap pile or something like that, and then brother donated the 3rd one. I haven't sat through and watched all these, I'll tell you. I know I seen the first Lord of the Rings in theater, and then maybe just parts of the other ones, so I need to sit through them. I know that Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings kind of came out around the same time, and I was more into the Harry Potter. But I know Lord of the Rings are great movies. I did enjoy the first one I saw in theater, and it's made by C.S. Lewis. He wrote the stories, and being a Christian, he had his Christian beliefs, and some of that's tied into the series, so that makes me more interested in it too. But they're fantasy movies, adventure movies, and then they came out with The Hobbit also, but I haven't read the books or anything like that, but I know the movies are good, and I'm glad to own those, so I'll get around to watch them all eventually. That is the 3rd tier, the Second Tower. Alright.